Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
The Obama administration is shamefully pushing the so-called lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender agenda. I am Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. And you know, Matt, we've talked before about some of these situations that have come to Liberty Counsel's attention regarding the Department of Justice forcing employees to accept homosexuality and actually affirmatively affirm it. But the Department of, or the White House actually issued an email regarding the so-called LGBT Happy Pride Month and listing all the different accomplishments that the president has made towards pushing this agenda. In a shameful way, unapologetic, this administration is just pushing this agenda on the American people.
Yeah, this president, you know, Andrew Sullivan, a homosexual writer, a couple of years ago said that, kind of hearkening back to people who would say that Bill Clinton was the first black president. Andrew Sullivan said that President Obama, in that sense, is the first gay president, in that he has signed off on every single demand of the radical homosexual activist lobby. And not just signed off on them, he is actively pushing them throughout the federal government through executive order after executive order, violating not just the spirit but the letter of DOMA and providing federal benefits and so forth for so-called same-sex couples. You know, we could go down the list. We can't even possibly go through all of the harm that he has done to our national standards when it comes to certainly morality and religious liberty as it pertains to this debate on sex and sexuality.
Well, this is a document. It's called the U.S. Policy on LGBT Issues. And below it says selected documents and speeches. And it says U.S. State Department with the State Department with the United States seal here. This is a document prepared by the United States State Department. Our State Department is doing this. And it is nearly 100 pages of selected documents and speeches outlining how President Obama has been pushing the so-called lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and whatever else you want to add to that alphabet soup on the American people. This is a president that has used the office in a way that is abusive to push an immoral policy and lifestyle and behavior onto the American people.
And let's not forget, as President Obama's appointment to the EEOC, Heidi Feldblum, radical lesbian activist, former law professor at Georgetown Law, as she has said, this is a zero-sum game. That means somebody wins, somebody loses. Who is losing under this president and pushing and with this radical pro-LGBT agenda? Well, religious freedom is losing. Children are losing. Our society is losing. And this president's attacks on the institution of natural marriage and natural family, our religious liberties. This president is behind ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act that Harry Reid is pushing, that has been reintroduced year after year after year for decades. The transgender bathroom rights bill is essentially what it is. This is a bill that would give just open women's bathroom doors to men in dresses across the country, and forget about your daughters, forget about your wives. You just have to grin and bear it because they'll be protected under federal law. This president is the most radical, secularist, pro-homosexual president in American history without even a close second.
And several years ago, we talked about employment non-discrimination and other kinds of similar laws, that's what it would lead to, is basically having men have the right to enter into women's bathrooms and locker rooms. And people would say, oh, that's just hypothetical, that's over the top, that's not what this issue is about. And lo and behold, here we are in 2013, and that's exactly what's happening. We have policies that are happening in public schools where young boys can go into the girls' bathroom. How about the young teenage boys having the opportunity to go into women's restrooms. Are they going to use that opportunity? Sure, they're going to use that opportunity. They're going to ultimately harm other women. People are going to be harmed and hurt by this insanity. And that's what this is about. And then they say, well, it's not about sex, it's about equal rights. Well, if that's the case, then why are all the pride parades, including the one that was recently held up in Washington, D.C., why are they all filled with sexual gyrations and mostly naked men doing all kinds of gyrations on parade floats? If it's not about sexuality and aberrant sex, then why is it hard? Why is it not hard to find these kinds of examples at every one of these pride events?
It's all about sex. We are talking about people who are defining their identity based upon aberrant sexual behaviors and sexual obsessions. Frankly, this is an obsession about sex and saying, and sexual license, and saying we demand that you recognize and affirm, even though it's contrary to your sincerely held religious beliefs, under force and penalty of law, you affirm our deviant sexual behaviors and our sex-centric lifestyle because that's who we are. That's our identity. Well, baloney. That's not who you are. That's what you do. And this president, with the official, seal of the State Department, is now backing every radical demand of these radical sex-centered activists and individuals to the detriment of longstanding traditional values in this United States, religious freedom, the freedom of speech and association. It's chilling what we see happening under this president.
And one of the things I think that we're seeing here is a clash, and we'll continue to see this more significantly between this agenda and religious freedom. The two are not coexistent. As Hy Feldblum said, this is a zero-sum game. There's a winner and a loser. And in her view, and in the view of the Obama administration and the people that he appoints of like-minded nature, the one that wins is not religious freedom, not the inalienable right to worship your Creator and follow your conscience. That's affirmed and recognized under the First Amendment, as we would naturally think would be the winner. No, it's this so-called agenda that would ultimately be the winner, and religious liberty, sorry, you lose. This is an agenda that is radically opposed to anything to the contrary. It is a clash of worldviews. It is a trampling of religious freedom. That's why Liberty Counsel fights in the courts and in the halls of policymakers and through education to make sure that this agenda does not overrun our religious freedom. But we need your help, and we need your prayers, and we need you to also understand what the threat is. If we don't understand the threat, we're not going to respond to it. This is not some innocuous agenda. This is not some, well, we can go ahead and accept same-sex unions, same-sex marriage, and there's no consequences to it. There's significant consequences.
And the activists and the legislators and people like President Obama, they love to conflate our opposition to their political agenda and certainly our religious opposition to sexual sin, which is what this objectively is. This is what we're talking about. But we need to make sure that they conflate the individuals who are in these lifestyles and our political position as an attack on these individuals, when that could be nothing could be further from the truth. As Christians, we love every individual. Christ loves every individual, even if they are completely engulfed in a sexual sin lifestyle. But what we're talking about here is a dangerous political agenda that is a threat to our inalienable constitutional rights, our God-given rights to religious freedom, and to society at large. And we've seen every society where this radical agenda has taken root. You talked earlier in the week with Dr. Judith Riesman, where the radical sex education and this secularist sexual relative worldview has taken root in Croatia and Switzerland and elsewhere. They're saying enough is enough. We're shutting it down. It's time for that to happen in America.
Well, go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org. We have resources that are there for you. Several of them include couple of books. One is my book, Same-Sex Marriage, Putting Every Household at Risk. Another is Dr. Judith Riesman's book, Sexual Sabotage, and the one that we most recently published through New Revolution Publishers that was authored by Dr. Riesman, Stolen Honor, Stolen Innocence. All three of those books are available at lc.org. You can also call 1-800-671-1776. This is a line that has to be drawn in the sand, and we hope that you continue to stand with this ministry and don't get discouraged. Get encouraged. Join with this ministry in your prayers and your financial support. You can go to lc.org for online contributions. You can also get the address and mail in contributions there as well. We are existing because of your prayers, and also because that you are standing with us financially. Again, the website is lc.org. That's lc.org.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.